What's up, Buzzard? How's it going, buddy? Uh, Vogel, it's good in the hood. Yeah. I don't know, Buzz. What does it mean to think? Nowadays, I think I'm not doing too much of it. Wait for just a couple more people. I don't think this stream is going to be too long today. I'm not really trying to make it super long, so don't expect like a 3 hour video like we got yesterday. Let me turn this fan off. But how'd you guys like the chapter? Now that we got the official translations, um, well, some things were cleared up. There was a bit of confusion, um, but yeah, I don't think too much has changed. But it's just a couple of things like from the questions I've just kind of been trying to answer in my head. Um, that I kind of want to get to the bottom to. I think we just have to start from point A, wherever that really is. So, um, Kingsman, what's good, man? Uh, Buzz, maybe sometimes good not. Yeah, absolutely. There's so much room in life to not have to think. Shouldn't be on 100 all the time. What alcohol is for. Don't drink, kids. Um, but okay, okay. Um, so this chapter was pretty good. Is that the right one? Okay, so I did the thing yesterday. I finally figured out. I have to wait until the actual scheduled time instead of like even 30 seconds early, or else I get multiple streams going. So I finally got it down. I still want to delete that though. That's whack. Um, but I kind of okay. So the whole point to this video is because of a post I made that was so stupid in hindsight. Um, and it's just me asking like what like where this purification ability comes from. I it can't come from Lucius himself, or like I say here, there's like no real point to the series at all because he could have just done this before Asta even existed. So, and then there's also the fact of the matter that Lucius is shown in the Spade arc and in the beginning of this one, uh, in like more of a deteriorating state. He's in a wheelchair and he's also sick. He's visibly coughing in Xenon's flashback. So this power purification, um, there's a lot that goes into it, I guess, because at first what I thought was it was Megicula's power and it's the purified version. However, I mean, dude, I really don't know. Okay, but it's redundant in the way because how could it be Megicula's power purified if purification is not his power? You know what I mean? So um, there was some thoughts. I think I saw it first from Mick and then from Dylan on here. Um, got me got reminded me that Lucifero uh, it could possibly come from him. And there's the 100% form of Dante where all the light is leaking out. Um, and so I would say for now that purification comes from Lucifero. Uh, but here's the thing. is that this is this is telling us that devils have more than just their shown attribute, if you understand what I'm saying. So, um, I want to go to the bigger question at hand, and that it might actually end up answering some of the questions by asking this question. Um, let's see. I think I can get it. Um, looking for a specific um, picture just for reference, and I'm sure you guys have seen it, and I'm sure you could understand what I'm saying even without the reference, but I think it's just nice to have it up for reference, just in case anyone doesn't know what I'm talking about. But there is uh, there's the little information card, like at the end of one of the chapters, um, when Asta is fighting Dante, and this is after he turns into like 80 or 90%, whatever he did, and the information card says that he's got gravity magic, but it has in parentheses a question mark, and that says that gravity is not really the basis of his power. Um, Buzz, if you could send that, that would be actually really amazing. Because I don't think I can remember where or under what terms I posted it. Um, not gravity. Maybe it's this. But yeah, Buzz, if you could, that'd be super sick. Um, I feel like it could be in this. But yeah, so essentially all I'm saying is that the magic of Lucifero and for Beelzebub has not fully been cleared up. They both have question marks. And for a long time, I've been saying it was maybe Vril or no, that's what I've been saying is that it's Vril, which is a different power source altogether, and has a variety of applications, both destructive and very creative and healing. But if this purification power comes from um, oh, did Kai lose her profile? For what? For posting like the KSI stuff? Oh, that's odd. Okay. Anyway, sorry. Scroll brand. Buzz sent it. Thank you, Buzz. Okay, so here we go. This is the card I'm talking about. So here we have Lucifero's magic equals gravity question mark. Um, and it says clearly, devil possessed who can use both his and his devil's magic. It's still a secret somehow. So we know that its body magic has already been revealed, right? It says it right here. It shows it here. It clearly states that Lucifero's magic is still somehow a secret. So what I'm thinking is that each devil, even though, like, okay, we get Beelzebub with spatial magic, but I believe even above this card, above this exact picture, it even has Beelzebub's power in question mark. So there's much more. So I would say Lucifero has some type of power over purification. Now, I'm not sure why he wouldn't be able to use it. You know what I mean? Maybe it's because he's in a fallen state and just can't access it. And the fact that humans are an intermediary force between good and evil, you know, could access both facets of the power. That's my one guess. But yeah, I wish I had the whole card because Beelzebub, I believe, I want to make sure I'm not mistaken, has the full. It has the question mark as well, which means we can expect something else from Beelzebub's power that possibly even Sister Lily can't even show us. So in the last stream, I kind of had the thought, or I think I just posted about it. It wasn't in the last stream. Um, Talked about just a headcanon thing that I have, right? And it's talking about Adremelech possibly just going back to Beelzebub, or somehow communicating with him by saying, hey, this kid is the one who took down Lucifero. So we have to realize we never really got Asta and Xenon in the same place outside of him taking Yami. And he did make a passing statement saying, oh, that's that guy's, and he stopped there. But I'm pretty sure he was just going to say rival, or, you know, maybe that's that guy's Alan, or whatever the hell he was going to say. But other than that, didn't really seem like Beelzebub was really active with Xenon controlling him. So I just want to find it, because this is kind of what I'm leaning to right now. So yeah, he goes back because at the end of the day, Adremelech is part of the Order of the Fly. Like, I don't think we're going to skate around the fact that this order does exist in the underworld. And it's such a cool point to touch on in a series. And I'd honestly be really let down if Tabata never touched on it and just went with the Paladin thing. But I'm very sure that these guys are not in line with Lucius. And it could serve like yesterday, where I was saying they could still be forming the last parts of the tree that they need. And the fact of the matter is, they may not have ever had a Lucifer, or maybe Lucifer has existed and is going through this incarnation process and has gone through it before everyone else did, through Asta and Liebe. But let's say there hasn't been a Lucifer yet. They're shifting through all of these leaders. So we've had Lucifero, not the Lucifer, that's Satan. And again, if you've been on the channel, they're two different things. Sorry, let's think. The Buzz sent the whole picture, just so you guys have it for reference. Okay, so here we go. There it is. Sweet. Okay. Here's the full card. So for any that was wondering what I was talking about, it says, appear the fearful trio that rules the Spade Kingdom, assuming they're the three Zargratis siblings. Oh, wait. Oh, yeah, okay. This is also in question. Because siblings, what's the truth about them? So this really provides more of, you know, there's the triad's definitely not done. Obviously, Lucius did say that him and his siblings will reshape the world with their magic. But this really does give rise to, like, these are probably incarnations of humans. To be honest with you, that's what I think. Or maybe even incarnations, all three incarnations of Lucius, if not just Xenon. So down here in Xenon's profile here, it says Devil Possessed, he can use Veil Magic and Spatial. Again, that question mark is there. So these can't be ignored. So I think to start, and sorry if I was in the middle of a thought, but Buzz rudely helped me out, distracted me. So part of the things I wanted to do was use that source I showed you guys yesterday that I've been using for a majority of my YouTube, like, little gig or career here. And this was I was supposed to have read every single chapter and put it into the Draconian Path playlist. I still might. It's an easy read for each one. But I think it might serve us some good to read it together. And then you guys can come up with your own things, you know, to get to what we think Beelzebub's other power could be. And it really could be, honestly, that he can make a devil heart himself, which would give reason to why Lucius is able to, you know, make someone into a devil, and then he's able to purify it with Lucifero's power. But let's just read through this first. So, the Gagael is the realm which Beelzebub rules over. Just in case you didn't know. So here we go. Gagael is the last clip before Thaumael and is the active force of the dark side. Gagael is associated with phallic gods and beings like the devil in his most masculine sexual form. So this is also the illusion of Beelzebub being listed under so many names. And he is the Prince of Darkness, the Prince of Lies as well. Or the antique god Priapos with his giant red phallus. Gagael corresponds to Shiva in his most phallic shape, when the power of his lingam or phallus causes the third eye to open, so that the universe is destroyed and recreated in one and the same moment. So I use this paragraph to describe what happened with Xenon when he turned into Xenonzebub. Xenon was destroyed. And what I mean by that is that when we see the light that was Alan inside of him, that's the part that he sacrificed. And this is a process of individuation. So Xenon is destroyed in the moment that he's also created anew. And so the third eye is also associated with this realm, but also associated with the Sitariel. I believe that's when it starts to form, which is one step down, which should be where Lucifugro Focal is, or Aishet Zenonim, who could be Megicula in this series. But it makes sense in this way that it's Megicula being Aishet in the Sitariel, because she is a devil with a third eye as well, but it looks actually physically different. It looks like it is still forming. But here we go. Causes the third eye to open so that the universe is destroyed and recreated in one and the same moment. If Sitariel is the throne of the dark goddess, Aishet Zenonim, then Gagael is the throne of the dark god, which is Beelzebub. Beelzebub, who is referred to as the Prince of Demons, rules Gagael. His name is generally interpreted as the Lord of Flies, but archaeological findings tell us that Beelzebub was originally a Phoenician god called Beelzebub, which means Lord of Lords. When reading Gagael, one becomes a magician in the deepest sense. So, I believe this was in one of the videos that I put on the Draconian Path playlist, was that you reach the full extent of your magic here. And even though there is one more step, I'm very sure, I forgot what it says. Maybe we can read it after this, or skim through it at least. But in the Thaumael, it would have to reflect Keter in the way that Keter doesn't have any magic. It's literally just the glory of God. So the Thaumael would have to be somewhere along the lines of that as well. So like the glory of darkness. We can kind of go with that for now. When reaching Gagael, one becomes a magician in the deepest sense. Magic is the art of will, and this is the center of will. This is an active level that is represented by the wand of the magician. The wand is a copy of the world axis around which the universe rotates. So this goes along with Beelzebub's spatial magic. This is the backbone in the universe that we live in. The male sky god, which can be found in the most religions. So again, Beelzebub has to do with the sky, which is why I always have to go back to It seems that they're very much connected. Let me read that again. The male sky god, which can be found in most religions, corresponds to this axis, and he is the one who creates and upholds the world and its order. The world axis is the phallus of the god. Gagael, ruled by Beelzebub, represents the forces of the apocalypse that cause the wand to break and fall apart. The Lord of Flies feasts on the old world, like flies consuming a corpse. From the ashes of the old world, the magician recreates the universe by raising his wand and lets it become the world axis in which a new universe rotates. So, this whole dismantling the world to recreate it has to come from Beelzebub. Whoa, read it once and I've been a changed man. Beelzebub himself. So there's something else there that has to go along with Beelzebub's spatial magic. And I think this kind of makes sense because you look at Lucifero's power. It's extremely aggressive. And then if the purification comes from later Buzz, thank you again. If purification comes from Lucifero, it's a more passive power. It's not as aggressive. Uh, but then you have Beelzebub, who does have a more passive power. Can it be used for in aggressive sense? Absolutely, and it's definitely showcased between Finral and Longreese. That's the dual nature of his power. But he uses it in a very passive way. I've always took it, which means that reading this and taking Lucius's plan into account, wanting to destroy the world and create it again, this would be the more aggressive power that Beelzebub has. And like it says here, the power of gluttony comes from him eating the old world, and then creating the new one. So there's that. The Thaumael one is kind of long. I don't know. You guys let me know if you want me to read the Thaumael one. It's probably very important, but if not, we can just continue on with like the other stuff. Uh, but for now, um, that's kind of where I wanted to start. So then we have to ask ourselves, like, what exactly is the deal with? Oh, did he tap? Um, what is the deal with Julius exactly? So, uh, yesterday, oh yeah, he did both. Dang, Buzz all over it today. So, with Julius, right? For all we know, um, it looks like Lucius is the one who started out um, in that body, and not so much Julius. Is at least how I'm interpreting this, because one of the bigger things to realize in the series is like Dante, Vonica, and Xenon don't have ages listed on their character profiles. So we don't know exactly how long they've been alive. However, we do have an age for Julius, and Julius is, I believe, 52, 54. Uh, so then I don't think we have a character profile for Lucius yet, but I have to imagine he also does not have an age listed on. Now, this could be for a variety of reasons. Um, and it's okay. You guys want me to read it? I will. I'll go back. Let me just finish this thought up really quick. So, if I can remember what I was saying. Dang it. Uh, I can never not scroll, man. So I'm just gonna read it. Okay. Yeah. Wait. So, um, Lucius probably doesn't have an age listed on his character profile if it comes out, when it comes out. Um, so if Lucius starts out, his magic is going to be soul magic. It has to be, right? Because that's what we see. He's got his own grimoire. However, this Julius had to have been the one in the background initially. Now, we saw Lucius, essentially, it looked like he was dying to me. He's coughing, he's in a wheelchair, he's not in the best state ever. So if Lucius is dying, I think the best interest is to make sure that the body stays preserved. So with soul magic, he could have pushed himself to the background while bringing Julius forward. Uh, but for this, I don't think Julius actually had magic to begin with. Um, so what I'm kind of wondering is if like, yo, Gene's like never around anymore. Um, but sorry. uh, so Lucius with the soul magic could have split his soul on his own within his own body to make sure that there's a healthy soul that could carry on the body. Um, or that soul existed as it says, I believe, in that chapter already with each other in the same vessel, but you see the hair is black. Um, so my other question going into it is like, did the Triad know of Julius? Like, I'm sure they knew who Julius was, but like, did they know that that was their brother, but also not their brother? There's still a lot of questions to be answered. But let me read the Thaumael portion of this. It is roughly 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pages. So yeah, um, I'll kind of go through it as fast as I can. Okay, so the thumbnail, for those that don't know, are the lowest point on the clipbout, which is the highest. It corresponds to Keter on the Tree of Life, and it has both Satan and Moloch ruling over it as contending forces. And this will describe pretty much everything. So the goal of the left-hand path, according to the Clopotic alchemical path, is to reach the outermost dark sphere, Thaumael. The Thaumael signifies the twin or the twin god, and is represented by the two devil princes, Satan and Moloch. They correspond to the utmost polarity and duality inherent in one principle. Like a Janus face, the two devils princes gaze in two opposite directions. So I have talked about this in some of the more recent videos as well as old videos, where I believe it's where I got it from the source, really. Satan looks down towards the tree where you can see all of the realms, while Moloch is facing outside, which means he's not looking at the tree at all. He's looking into the real void, because it'll explain here that Moloch is the one who creates a new universe for the mage to rule over, while Satan sends ones back into the cycle of reincarnation. So one gazes outward on... Oh my god, did I just answer my own question? I just answered my own question, you guys. Here we go. We just thought about it. So here, the power, the power purification absolutely has to come from Satan, because as it's going to explain here, Satan will send one back into the cycle of reincarnation, and Lucius explicitly says that he's incarnating. So within the same lifetime, he is incarnating a soul. Ooh, boy, here we go, breaking ground. One gazes towards outwards on that which has been the creation that the magician has revolted against and is now emancipating himself from. So this means that the mage is wanting to become his own god and is ditching the idea of being a member of the existing world. The other is gazing in towards the future and the worlds that the magician, now as a god, is able to create. Satan is the opponent, or the rebel, against creation and those structures that bind together existence and limit the magician. Moloch means king or lord, and is the one who creates and rules the new worlds. These two principles of the lord and rebel are united at Thaumael. They are at each end of the black hole that represents when the magician reaches the Thaumael. Satan destroys the universe. He says Universe A, in which the magician is a creation, and Moloch opens Universe B, in which the magician is a creator. These mysteries are considered so revolutionary and difficult to understand that one deals with them exclusively during higher degrees of initiation. Thaumael's division is the reason why the number of the Clipot is 11, and it's the formula. Its formula is Adamus Ater, or AA, which is referring to the Order of the Silver Star, which I've talked about extensively, as well as Wizard King Minato, which is translated to the Black Diamond. Again, also in that Xenon Zabub video that I did make. Numerologically, the numbers 1 through 10, or 10 through 1, represent the unity between man and God, the end and the beginning. The serpent biting its own tail symbolizes this. We talked about this yesterday. When the magician progresses according to the Kabbalistic levels of Keter, the highest principle is reached at the final stage. At Keter, the 10 and 1 have been united and the circle has been closed. The Adept of Light has reached his goal and become one with God. So, again, this has been talked about in previous videos, but to sum it up, this is essentially the difference between the two trees. If you ascend the Tree of Life on this path of a magician, which is the right-hand path, you essentially lose your sense of individuality by becoming or going back to the one source that you came from, which is kind of sad, but also kind of enlightening in a way. And then you have the left-hand path, which it will describe here, where you find yourself, like your one true self, and it's celebrated, and you get to become your own god, which is really the allure. But then you also do, and I think it says here, that you do have the option of not ascending to godlyhood right away, but you can go back to the realm that you came from, and kind of with all the godly power that you attained on that journey. but you have to go through a process of rebirth first. The Dark Adept also reaches this level, but has the choice at this. Oh, bruh, I could really just recite these chapters like off the top of my head by now. Okay, the Dark Adept also reaches this level, but has the choice at this stage to take one more crucial step. To Thamael, another 11th level is opened, a black hole that becomes a gate to another universe. The Dark Adept frees himself completely from God and the old creation and becomes a creator. Instead of becoming one with God, the magician becomes a god himself through the 11th level. This is the final goal and the essence of the left-hand path. Now, if you guys are interested, I have a very cool real life, or like concerning this aspect, real life conspiracy theory about religion and the demonization of demons. If you guys are interested, but that would be later in the video. The Western left-hand path and the Eastern Indian left-hand path and the Vamakara strive toward the same goal. The common yoga of the right-hand path strives, just like the light Western mysticism, to reach unity and melt together with God or the divine. The right-hand path in Tantra also has this goal. Julius Evola, who I have mentioned in the last video and some other videos, I'm still reading his 3 books in my off time, and the Yoga of Power explains the difference between the right-hand path and the left-hand path. And this is a quote from it. There's a significant difference between the two tantric paths, that of the right hand and that of the left, which are both under Shiva's agis. In the former, the adept always experiences someone above him, even at the highest level of realization. In the latter, on the left-hand path, he becomes the ultimate sovereign world ruler. And would you know, we just got the Wizard Emperor, which the difference between king and emperor would just be that he's planning to rule the entire land and not just the Clover Kingdom. The left-hand path takes a further decisive step than the right-hand path, represents the mysticism around the number 11 and the Adamus Aether formula, or the Black Diamond formula. The right-hand path leads to unity with God, while the left-hand path takes one step beyond God. The right-hand path leads to conclusive and final eternal goal, while the goal of the left-hand path is to arrive at a new beginning. The two roads have been compared to the two ways that one can follow a river. The right-hand path follows the river into the sea, while the left-hand path goes against the flow back to the spring. The left-hand path goes backwards and against the stream. When the magician reaches the spring, he has the possibility to alter the direction of the river and create a new river if he wishes to. Another important aspect of the left-hand path in both the West and the East is the importance of the dark goddess. Lilith and Kali are the Black Mothers. So, talk about this a lot. Keep it in your head. That Lilith, there are 3 aspects of her. So when they refer to her as the Black Mother, they're referring to Aishat Zenonim. So again, Lilith and Kali are the Black Mothers, and their womb is the actual source toward which the Dark Magician strives in order to be reborn as his own child and his own creator. So, I know Buzz left, but messaging Broku, Buzz, and WK, I've had these like thoughts to them that sound like incestual in nature, and I had made a video also talking about Astaroth and the possibility that Julius and Lucius are not really brothers, that one is married to the female version of Astaroth, Astarte, given the light version of it. And purification could really come from Astaroth if it is split that way. And then Julius is the son of Astaroth. Like, it sounds weird, but this is kind of where it comes from, because you have to be reborn as your own child. So one of the things was that I believe it's in that video that I pointed out yesterday as well, the Temple of the Black Flame, because they do bring this up as well. That I've believed for a while that Asta birthed himself, and that he is more of a mastermind kind of character, but hasn't realized his full potential yet. He's at that time, I believe I did list him as an incarnation of Lucifer. Either him or at least Liabe. So the difference between the goals on the right-hand path and left-hand path are the same in both the East and the West. In the West, the highest sphere of light is Keter, the crown. And here one reaches unity with God. In the east, the highest level of light is the crown chakra, Sasra. I don't do the Indian, so I have no idea how it's pronounced. At this stage, the adept reaches samadhi, which means unity with God, and is a unity with the divine. The state numerologically corresponds to 10. This stage is symbolized by the diamond, the purest and hardest form of carbon, the foundation of all life. In his book 777, Aleister Crowley writes regarding Keter and the number 1. The diamond is the white brilliance, it is pure carbon, the foundation of all living structure. The adept of the left-hand path also experiences this level, but has, through his magical work, the possibility to take another step, one beyond 10, 11, which corresponds to a conscious step in through the gate 0, that is 1 beyond 1. Now, to illustrate this is why I use certain pictures. So what he's saying, the step beyond 10, is best illustrated in this picture that I showed you guys yesterday. I think I can just... So there we go. Well, I hope it doesn't stay blurry like that. Yeah, it's gonna stay blurry. I want you guys to be able to see the picture a bit better. Yeah, looks better. Okay. So when he's talking about all the numbers, you start from the bottom. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh wait, 1, 2. Yeah, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh no. Oh, this one. Oh, this one's a tad bit different. Probably a little bit more accurate, to be honest. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then the 11th step is the Gathael. Then you have 12 and 13. So there's actually 13 whole steps that you can actually take. So just to illustrate it for you guys. Where did we go? Where did we start? Okay. This step is the secret behind the division of the Thamael and the two twin devils, Satan and Moloch. The step beyond Keter and the Sasra is symbolized by the black diamond, Adamus Ater. Crowley describes the black diamond in 777 when reflecting on the number 0. It is invisible yet contains light and structure in itself. So this is something that I alluded to in another thread not too long ago, was that there's a picture of Asta after he saves Noel, and it shows a rainbow behind him. Now, the rainbow represents all spectrums of light, and light mages are pretty much the backbone of the story. But then there's also a spectrum of light that is unseen, that I have attributed to Morgan before, but it could very well fit Asta, that he has this sort of light that isn't recognized as magic or mana, again corresponding to Keter because there is no magic to be recognized at the highest level. The black diamond represents the ultimate freedom of the left-hand path, which is why I labeled Xenon as pretty much a god that had just been born when he sold his soul. Offering one step further into the right-hand path, Julius Evola describes how this thought exists in the tantric left-hand path. The creative and productive aspect of the cosmic process is signified by the right-hand path by the color white, and by the two goddesses Uma and Gauri, in whom Shakti appears as Prakashatmika. I don't know who that is, but Shakti is another name for Fenrir. She who is light and manifestation. The second aspect, that of conversion and return, Exodus Redditus, is signified by the left hand by the color black, and by the dark destructive goddess Durga and Kali. Thus, according to the Makala Tantra, when the left and the right hands are in equilibrium, we experience samsara. But when the left hand prevails, we find liberation. So again, really has to do with the mandala symbol on Xenon's head. He's reached a state of godlyhood. So I paint it better and more in depth in that video, talking about Xenon and how when you consult Beelzebub, what happens is all those arcs that you see here are attributed to each of these three supernal beings. So you consult Lucifuge or Aishet Zenonim, as Thomas Carlson in this book is going to point out, you land here in the Gothael. That's what gets you there. If you choose to consult Beelzebub and ascend from there, you get to Belial. And I just made a statement, I've made other statements before on Twitter, that Beelzebub and Belial are the same being, which makes Beelzebub an incarnation of Belial. And for any that might not know the history of this particular demon, he is the brother of Lucifer, made alongside. And it's actually more accurate to say that Belial was the original ruler of hell, and then Lucifer fell. He is really the dark god. So then, if you choose to go to the Thaumael and you choose not to consult Satan, but you choose to consult Moloch, then you reach the Kemtiel, and you see it's the outermost void of existence. So that means you start a new tree. I've talked about that a lot in other videos as well. And it looks like that's what Lucius is looking to do mainly. But here we go. When the I read that already. I believe it's called. Oh no, okay. The Indian adepts of the light strive towards samadhi, but the dark adepts seek kaivalya. Kaivalya is a state corresponding to the black diamond that the magician reaches at Thaumael. Here, the adept reaches a state of absolute individuality and divinity. You guys have probably heard me say that a ton. Absolute self or individuation, same thing. Both coined by Julius Evola. Instead of becoming one with God, here the adept becomes God. This is a state of total trance and absolute presence within oneself. The adept has the universe and all the potential within, and from this can create a new universe. To reach this stage, the dark adept needs to open a form of black chakra beyond the Sasara. It is called Sunya or Shunya, and corresponds to Thaumael and the black hole. This level is described in Agara 11, Kundalini by Robert Svoboda. In the Shunya state, all names and forms become extinct, which means you've lost yourself. And all you are aware of is your own individuality. Again, that is your absolute self, individuation. Otherwise, only the void remains. Everything in the universe is contained in the Shunya state. In unmanifested form, you can no longer perceive it. Although people call the Shunya state the void, it is not empty, it's full. The possibility of opening the black chakra arises after the black magician has accomplished the state of awakening of the Anja chakra and the third eye. The Anja chakra is the lower form of Sunya within the body. Sunya is the third eye, the eye of Lucifer or Shiva, in a higher form, reserved for the most advanced adepts on the left-hand path. With the activation of the Anja chakra, the adept faces a final decision to become one with God in the Sasara and thus be disintegrated, or to attempt the great and very difficult step through Sunya to become a god. Neither Sasara nor Sunya are actually chakras in the general meaning of the word. Man has 6 main chakras, from the base chakra to the Anja chakra in the head. The 3 lower chakras are dominant in persons who are focused on earthly matters and their base instincts. In spiritual persons, the 3 higher chakras are the dominant one. The depths of the right-hand path are predominantly trying to raise their energies from lower levels to the higher in a process that leads to enlightenment at the Anja chakra, where the adept realizes the illusory nature of the self and the universe. So this here is the entire idea of the halls of Amenti and the fact that demons, otherwise known as archons, thank you, Rohan, for telling me what Shunya is. Shunya is Hindi for 0, if we didn't know. Thank you. The illusory state refers to that everything so take your real life right now. Everything and everyone you know is an illusion, is the idea. Everything that you can tangibly pick up is an illusion. And there's some sects of Judaism where they believe that Earth and what we experience now is actually hell. So, hey guys, welcome. When you start to realize that this is fake and you start to divulge into either the right or left-hand path, what happens is you ascend through the dimensions. I'll show you what that looks like. You guys have probably seen it. But here we go. It's a very ancient concept held first, I believe, by the Egyptians, but I believe even they got it from the ancient Sumerians. So this traces a long, long way back. But here we go. The Omega point is the highest point, so that would be Keter. And realize there are 10 positions here. So this is another rendition of the Tree of Life. So this is like, I don't know if you guys are able to see it like by now, but this is why I'm so enthused with the subject. You know, it's not just that it's related to Black Clover. I really do study this stuff for like my own spiritual journey. I think it's really interesting to get all these aspects in different forms and find that like the most ancient people have come to these conclusions, where they used like a pyramid. It was later turned into a tree, but it also started out as a tree with the Sumerians. So the Egyptians were just kind of fundamentally different. But this level of ignorance is where we're at right now. As you ascend through either tree, you start to brush off the illusion, and once you get here, you've reached the state that really you should be in, and that's your absolute self, or your unity back with the Creator God. Go back now. The final goal of the right-hand path is to take the great step to the Sasara to reach Samadhi and an extinction of the self. The adept of the left-hand path can take a step back into himself at the Anja chakra and find 3 hidden chakras that are concealed inside. The 3 secret chakras are the Golata, Lalata, and Lalana. They can only be experienced when the Kundalini is completely awakened and has made the Anja chakra flame with force to your third eye. Only when the Anja chakra burns with the Kundalini force can the adept find the 3 secret and hidden chakras in the back of his head. According to Vamchara, these 3 chakras can only be opened through the blessing of Kali. The secret chakras can make the adept a god while in his own body. Thus, there are 3x3 chakras, 3 of which are secret and are only opened by very advanced adepts on the left-hand path. The next step is to reach the Sasara chakra, but through the awakening of the Anja chakra and the secret chakras of the adept. You can take a step beyond the Sasara and the 10th level and through Sunya to an 11th level to create new worlds beyond Sunya. On the other side of the black hole, the adept will also find the infinite light that has previously been experienced as darkness. This is in that video I showed you guys to go to yesterday. Shelley, yes, like the Matrix. I actually made a video about detailing it as the Matrix. I kind of break down that movie and give you guys the like the real meanings behind it, because if you've watched the Matrix. It is actually the process of initiation. The main character's name is Neo. That is short for Neophyte. In the Golden Dawn, that's where you start as a mage. And he is the Pleroma, which I also talk about in that video and a ton of other ones. The Pleroma, which is, literally means that he's the one, which he is in the movie. But he doesn't, he's the Kenoma and becomes the Pleroma. So he starts kind of empty. He doesn't know his full potential. And then he starts to evolve and realizes that, the famous line, when he's trying to bend the spoon with his mind, he realizes this is all fake anyway. There is no spoon. So I should be able to do with this what I can do. And it's a releasing of the mind that he's doing in that moment that allows him to bend that spoon, which later translates into him being able to fly, stop bullets, dodge bullets, all that good stuff. Really cool movie if you guys have not seen it. But yes, like the Matrix. But in the other video that I showed you guys yesterday to watch, the Temple of the Black Flame, this is what I mean by negative light. So when you're sitting in a room right now, you're probably in a lit room, I would assume, and you want to find I don't know what you kids play nowadays. Your Nintendo Switch, right? It's got a lit background and everything. And let's just say the blue and the red sides are not visible. So you can only see the screen if you look for it. You're in a cluttered room. It's kind of hard because you can see everything clearly. And so it's easy to glance over. However, in the Temple of the Black Flame, light is looked at in a negative way. And I don't mean that in like they disavow light or lightness, but they look at light differently. Because they approach Lucifer, who was originally an angel of light, but during his fall, that light became more dark, but not darkness. They call it a negative light. So if you imagine yourself in the same room, same clutteredness, you're looking for your Nintendo Switch, and the screen is on, and it's pitch black. It's going to be very easy to find that light. Okay, so that's what they essentially mean. It's much easier, and this is kind of why like Luciferianism and the left hand path get a very bad rep because people have demonized it. It goes back into the conspiracy I kind of mentioned earlier that I have. If you guys are at all interested in that, but the demonization of these followings really point to the fact that they're evil and they follow this fallen deity, and it's really not about that for most of the practitioners of this. It's more finding illumination through darkness. It's very easy to find a silver lining to things when you've seen the absolute shittiest thing ever. So that's kind of the perspective that they take. Instead of God's unity, the dark path offers dynamic duality as the highest principle. Unity is equivalent with extinction, while the outermost duality gives life and energy. So think about all of the twins and dual soul wielding people that we've had in the series. This is what they're striving to. I think up until now, it's been failed. And even with Lucius right now, it's failing. And I think Yuno and Asta are really about what this is saying here. They're not really consumed about being united with each other. They can work as dual components working towards the same goal. When the magicians reach Thaumael, he finds himself at the absolute core. Thaumael is the eye of the dragon and the throne of Lucifer. The magician can stay here forever, but can also make the ultimate choice. All religions, philosophical, and metaphysical goals can be reached from this level. The magician can enter nirvana, become one with the darkness or the womb of Kali, but it is also possible for the magician to invert Thaumael and become one with God and the bright side. The magician can re-enter the lower levels or take a final step out of this universe. That is the end of the Thaumael. So here, just so there's no mix-up, it says that the Thaumael is the throne of Lucifer. It is not the throne of Lucifer. What he means is this is where... so if I'm gonna use the word to keep it relevant, since we're talking about Black Clover. This is the incarnation of Lucifer, right? These are shells. Lucifer is out here on the outermost veil. He does not exist within the tree. And this is better depicted with like the thought of Gnosticism, which is why I tend to lean towards towards the Gnostic theories more than even Judaism and things like that. This is actually a good picture to talk about, but let's see if I can find one. I use it in one of the videos that I talk about it, but it's kind of blurry, to be honest. Not the greatest. Shoot. While I look for it, tell me what you guys' thoughts on this are. What is it called? Could be in. Nope, not in there. Well, anyway, what ends up happening is if you look at this might kind of depict it. Let's look at this one. So what happens is you have these outer rungs, and it ends up being that the circles that you see connect to the circles in the underworld. So it alludes to this creator god being the same being, both light and dark. to provide this balance. Uh, and it's not so much Lucifer against God; it's God against God. And that was the point of Lucifer's fall. I believe depicted in Paradise Lost, John Milton's work. Beelzebub is the one who lets Lucifer out of hell to gain the powers of chaos in its most destructive form, since they were in the underworld. But that is chaos is where the light god also lives, but it's creative chaos where everything is born from. So it's intricate things like that that need to be accounted for. Um, but this is the idea of the whole process, and it still holds a lot of water with what we're seeing here in Black Clover now. Let me make sure I'm caught up on your chats though. Uh, so Shelly, you think they're stuck in a time zone in the world that Lucius created? I couldn't surprise you, or you wouldn't be surprised the outside of Four Kingdoms will turn out to be post-apocalyptic world. I don't think so, because that's the point of him saying Wizard Emperor, that he's going to be ruling the entire four nations. Um, I think it does make sense that Asta will be the one to break this barrier. Yeah, well, I'm pretty sure he's already broken it. Again, watch the Temple of the Black Flame video. Um, it's literally it goes all the way into the whole concept, um, where he rebirths himself, and it could be that he ascended that path, and he chose not to become his own god, but to save this world that was, you know, very clearly deteriorating as time went on. And to be real, without Asta there, a lot of these characters would not have been redeemed. And this is a point that I make several times, is that with Asta, he has done more things that resemble his connection to Lucifer than anyone else in the series. And I say that because I go back and same video, I talk about the negative light that Asta might have, this unseeable light that he might have. And this light is not so much like this aggressive light, like Licht uses, like Lumiere uses. It's more of the light within oneself. So while put it this way, while Lucius is kind of forcing this light upon others, this enlightenment, Asta's genuinely making this connection and sparking that light within them to change their ways and change their minds. And we see that first with Klaus, and so this light that can't be recognized as magic, Asta with anti-magic now is allowing for the free will of things, right? So it's kind of tough to explain. So the anti-magic would be the most destructive force of chaos. So going back to like the Thaumael and the two opposing gods there, and they're not actually opposing, but they just have different agendas. Satan sends things back to creation, meaning he will destroy it entirely and send it back into the reincarnation cycle. So with anti-magic, that's essentially what's happening. He's disassembling it entirely, and that's where chaos is, where all things go to die. And then coupled with that unseeable light, Asta is really Lucifer in his truest form. He's allowing people to live the life that they choose to without any other interference, and he's able to carve his own path within that world due to anti-magic, and not be controlled by powers like fate or any gods. And even though it seems like any god or gods that might exist within the series have been against him, he still perseveres, and that's kind of like the other side of what Lucifer stands for. You know, if you don't see him as uh, this completely corrupt and evil being, um, this being was one that that chooses free will, the one that, uh, as the Temple of the Black Flame puts, as some sects of Gnosticism puts it, um, they believe that Lucifer is the one who saved us from a demiurge and not a true god. Um, because if you guys go back to that God Eater video that I made about Austin Liebe, the demiurge is actually not out for humans' best interests, right? So Lucifer being against humanity is true and also untrue in that perspective. The fact of the matter is that uh, when it when you have the line God made man in his image, um, this is also the image that this demiurge created, and it's an evil demiurge, an evil god that stole power from the true god, which is called the Bythos, and and Lucifer recognized that. So the point of the rebellion is not so much that he's jealous of humans, but he recognized the fact that this is not how we're supposed to be living. Like not even the angels are true creations, and that's why he wants to even war with heaven. And it's not just to kill them. The point of the killing and attaining the souls is to send them back to the Bythos, the true heaven. And so it is so perfectly illustrated in oh no, where'd it go? I just saw it on one of our searches. I thought it was the halls of you'll see this picture too. And it's very it's this one. Uh here we go. And and this goes back to all the devils that are labeled as archons. Okay, so you'll see that as far as you're taught in like schools and just general knowledge, right? This is not how we depict, uh, you know, the universe in which we live in, right? So here's the Earth, and then you have the sun within the stars, with as well as the moon. They're inside of the stars and not with the stars, and this is because this painting is supposed to illustrate the illusion, the halls of Amenti. And they don't call it the halls of Amenti here. I do forget what they call it, but this individual who's peering outside of the stars is the one who's seeking that enlightenment, and he now recognizes that even if this is heaven, the illusion of heaven, the real heaven lies out here. And as you see, that's a throne angel right there. And that's the real sun, which is the real God. And his wife, the Shekinah, is there. And you can see there's rainbows. I believe it maybe alludes to the Rainbow Bridge, but it could just be the way it's colored. I don't think this is the original painting. But here's more into that as well. So this is the depiction that the world that we live in is inherently evil and run by devils. The sun is Satan. The moon is the fallen version of the Shekinah, which is Lilith, or Aishat Zenonim. And the stars are Beelzebub's doing. He creates the stars. So when you look at some of the clepotic trees, you'll see that they get certain signs attributed to them. Where is it? This one doesn't have the actual sign for it, but he does label it. So you'll see here, you have things like this is the moon, Lilith is down here. This is the sun. I forget all the other signs. I'm not really good with these symbols, but then you have Beelzebub, who has the zodiac, and that's because he rules the stars. Again, this is why I always fall back on being somehow related to Beelzebub. But they create this fake layout of a universe to create the halls of Amenti, but the real heaven and universe lies outside of that. So it gets really, really in depth, but hopefully I was able to explain that in a way that makes sense. Um, but let's go your comment here. Um, Okay. Da, da, da. Yeah, Helix, Jack, I sent you some interesting screenshots. Twitter. You don't have Twitter. Did you make a Twitter? Obviously. Just you said you don't have a Twitter, but you sent me something interesting on Twitter. So clearly you made a Twitter. Cool. Are you this person? Yeah, Helix, you gotta tell me who you are. I'm not seeing what you sent. Unless you send it to my other account. Yeah. Yeah, Helix, tell me what your Twitter handle is so I can go to it. I'm not seeing it on. Okay. Oh, wait. This is you. Here we go. Um, follow the homie Helix if you haven't already. This is his account. Um, okay. So you sent the Grimoire, and I saw the next picture has two outward-facing spade symbols. Where was this picture? Oh, this is Lumiere talking to Sekre then when they first meet. Interesting. I wonder if that's in the manga. Because there were some other things that was in that background that were interesting as well. Uh, this has to be anime only. I don't watch the anime. I haven't kept up with it all that much. The only parts I really watched were like the beginning and then the Spade arc. Other than that, I didn't watch the anime too much. So yeah, this is where she meets the yeah. Okay, I did watch this. Is this how that sea god got there? Because Broku and I talked about this actually. We did a collab on his channel talking about how Zagrid and Magicula could be linked to this. We're gonna do a follow-up video as well on this. But this was a pretty important anime only episode, in my opinion. Because yeah, the Seabed Temple seems to have some pretty close connections with devils, Zagrid namely, but probably also ones like Magicula and probably even Lucifer himself. Um, not Satan, but yeah. I did not see that other one though with the outward facing spades. That's pretty cool. Uh, let's keep going. John, how's it going, man? Good to see you. If Asta is Astaroth, I think he wants to redeem himself. I think he's made a promise to his master, that's Julius, to protect humanity from Lucius. Um, that could be interesting. That could be a stipulation of the contract for Julius, is to make sure that the Clover Kingdom stays safe. But my only thing is that Julius doesn't have an origin, and if anything, started out more so in the Spade and not the Clover Kingdom. So more of my question back to like, let's think about this, is like, how did Julius end up in the Clover Kingdom? Um, and I don't think he's ever been regarded as like a foreigner either. No one has really went into his origins like that. So it's very interesting that we still don't have Julius's full story, which should have raised red flags right away, I guess. But um, yeah, Shelly, that it's a good painting. People see it all the time, but they usually have like no clue what it actually means and what it's depicting. So hopefully you guys learn. Cool. Do you think paladins are ways to reintroduce characters we haven't seen in the? Yeah, possibly. So like, there's so many ways to look at the series, and because Tabata's weaving in and out of things, right? So like, one way to look at this is lore-wise, which I usually do. Then there's also we've delved into like government, science of things, and religion, but the other part to it is like we have to recognize the pattern of the series itself as a literary device itself. So I actually was just talking to someone on here who commented on one of the threads, saying that that they think Seke is going to be a paladin. Well, I'm not against it. Look at Seke thematically. Every arc he's been on the outside looking in, right? He didn't get possessed, and he also wasn't on the front lines of that force. And then in the Spade arc, again, outside looking in, he really didn't contribute anything. However, we have to take into account like his specific mini arc that he had, his own chapter in the Lucifero battle, that sets him up to not be a paladin in this arc, in my opinion, because we're wanting character growth from Seke, because he gets down on himself and he looks at Asta and he looks at Yuno, seeing that Asta is a boy from the Boons who did not have any magic at all and still beat him and got to a point where he can exist on the same battlefield as not only captains, but like top tier captains, like the strongest in the world, and the supreme devil of them all. Alongside with Yuno, who is, not to make it sound bad, but he has been handed a fair amount of his power, but he worked to make use of those power as well, or those powers, and was able to exist on that field. Again, he's looking at them, and he's regretting not getting stronger. So it would be really weird for me to see that a character like Seke has that kind of moment and then becomes a paladin where all of that is just wiped away and he just becomes strong all of a sudden. And while it serves its own purpose thematically as well that he does become a paladin, the thing for me is that I think it would strike us much better as a community if Seke stays Seke, but grows strong enough to be able to contribute to thwart the forces of Lucius. That makes sense. But more or less, yeah, the paladins can be used to bring other characters like Dorothy to the forefront, where she, for the entirety of the series, has really never fought outside of fighting her elf self. I forgot what her name, Reeve. Outside of that, we haven't really seen Dorothy in action in the manga. She got off-screened by Morris, and she had the little captain's battle, which was anime only. So people like her, absolutely. People are starting to say William. I'm not against that. We did talk about yesterday. I do think he might sympathize with Julius over this situation, but I don't think he'll sympathize in a way where it's like, okay, I'm going to side with you, because at the end, he can probably see that Patri realized that he was wrong. At the end, Patri recognized that he was wrong in the way he went about things. So while William might sympathize, he's just going to sympathize in a way that that he's still against Lucius, the other soul that's trying to take over. But he's going to sympathize with Julius in trying to bring him back to the forefront. So he might not even become a paladin. I would prefer not, because I'm really looking forward to this advent of Ragnarok I've been theorizing. And they would need William to actually do something good with the World Tree magic, in combination with Star magic to create the Rainbow Bridge, to bring in gods of old to help fight this war, because they're going to need it. They're going to need all the help they can get. But yeah. Also, you feel that Mars will become a paladin, which I know will be a whole lot joking. That would be kind of cool, though. Yeah, that would be super cool. Dude, if anyone, because I know I said for Fuegolian, like, he could be the representation of Archangel Michael, which would be kind of cool. But, ooh, also, what do you guys think would happen if he turns Fuegolian into a paladin? What happens with Salamander? Like, will that get purified too? That'd be really interesting. But anyway, for Mars to represent the Archangel Michael would be super cool to me. Because he'll have a flaming sword, and that sword is made of diamond. So that'd be crazy cool. I would be super hyped for that. It would kind of suck too, because like, damn, Asta went all that, like, spent all that time and energy, saving him from himself and the clutches of the Diamond Kingdom and the Magic Stone. that, or the Mage Stone that he had implanted in him. So that'd be kind of sad, but also really cool at the same time. I still hold the theory that Gray and Vanessa will become paladins, so Lucius is has access to the Moria, like I was saying yesterday. Yeah, John, we talked about it yesterday. I disagree, just because I feel like those are gods of old, from an old pantheon that don't exist any. They not exist, but are not here presently, with this more Christian and Judaic pantheon that we see right now. So even the Witch Queen doesn't refer to like Vanessa as a sister of fate. So I don't think like terminology even exists currently right now. However, it's obvious. Like, yeah, I've already made those videos about the Moria, and we put Gray and Vanessa there. I had Vonica as the sister of death, but I'm more so thinking it's probably the Witch Queen. But the thing is that if she knew about the fates, she would be able to kind of recognize Gray's power as part of the fates, and she ends up throwing Gray out of her own, or does Gray run away? One or the other. But she doesn't really value Gray like she should. And that could obviously be for just like everyone else, just misclassified her magic. But I think the Witch Queen is wise enough to know magic when she sees it, because even Vanessa's magic is labeled as, I believe it's just string magic, but she recognized her as the of potentially getting the red thread of fate. So it's another level to that power. But I don't think they will necessarily have to become paladins for that to happen. I think he's going to make paladins, and I think he's already working with the Witch Queen somehow, be it lovers or siblings or just in cahoots. That he's got control of all reality, and with this partnership, he has control of reality and fate. And there's nothing that can oppose both except for anti-magic. So then Helix, I think something happened to Julius when he connected to the magic item. The item had a lot of negative mana in it from absorbing Lick's attack, so I think it'll come up of importance later on. Okay, so Helix, that's the thing that we've talked about before. That swallowtail that Julius finds is not the swallowtail that was used on Lit. And that was something that like was a revelation to me, because it's shown in the anime that, and I believe maybe even in the manga as well. I could be mistaken, but definitely the anime. The swallowtail used on Licht was actually broken. It consumed so much of that mana, it just broke. So that's what I was saying a couple streams ago, I believe, when talking about the swallowtail, is that apparently they were clearly made even after the downfall of Lumiere and Sekre, and it was replicated. So the only swallowtail that still exists that I believe was it was the one used against the elves to absorb their magic initially. I believe they used a separate swallowtail to absorb the negative mana from Lick's demon form, and that's the one that broke. So that swallowtail that was used to absorb the magic from the elves was also maybe they could be the same, actually, because the royals used that swallowtail to infuse, to like gain more magic. They stole the magic from the elves, right? So that magic was then passed down for generations, almost like a bank vault. So it was a different one, and yeah, it's just kind of weird, that story, because he's also saying that he was just taking a stroll, like, oh look, a swallowtail, let's see if my magic corresponds. Like, it's not fleshed out, and it's just very weird in general. But yeah, Byron Jack, how do you feel about Lucius incarnating a devil into a human and then purifying? I really don't know, and that can really, of course, be answered with Adremalek. if he is still around. I'm sure he is. Um, but I think so. Here's the thing: if he could purify a straight up Supreme Devil, he would have much better luck um, with converting the devils there into Supreme Devils. In my thought process, and he didn't. Instead, he's using their powers to incarnate their souls and give it to humans. So I'm thinking he can't even do that. I maybe yeah, because maybe he can turn them into human at most, but I don't think he'd be able to purify them. I'm also just not completely sure. I really don't know how to answer it. Yeah, I don't know. Um, would I be mad at it if it happened? I guess not. I would just hate to see a devil become a human and then become a paladin, um, because then it would have to revert back to a devil and then purify. Seems like a pretty lengthy set of steps. I think for the most part, he's trying to preserve uh, what little is left of the balance between both trees. Well, so it's kind of tough to say. Um, Shelly, you wonder if Marx has has fleed from the Clover Kingdom and given Yami a message about that came from Julius. I don't think he's fled the Clover Kingdom. I think there's something weird going on with Marx, though. I find it very hard to believe that he is not known. Um, there's some other aspects to Julius. Rohan, I don't know why, but I have a feeling every paladin will be a character who has black colored hair. So yeah, we talked about that also before. It seems that black hair in the series actually means something, and that it seems that they're closer to devils than anything. And I first noticed it with Asta's Devil Union form. Just struck me as odd because you see Vonica um, uh, not turn into, but um, in the Heart Kingdom, when Magicula forces herself forward through the eye here, um, Vonica's hair is naturally black. Magicula's hair is white. So it made sense that it turned white. And I brought this up as it came through because I thought the hair was going to be important slightly before that, and I forgot why. But then we have Libe and Asta. Of course, Libe has white hair. Asta has this like grayish brown whatever hair. I don't know what you want to call that color. Um, and then it turns black. And that's the part I didn't understand. Because neither of them have black hair. But when they come together, it turns black. So I made jokes about it, like, is it anti-magic hair? Like, it just doesn't seem to make all that much sense. And I guess, yeah, it does happen well before Devil Union, actually. Now that I see that. Um, so there's something up with these black-haired characters, and I think this black hair is more so the true form of Asta and Libe. I think they are the same soul. Um, and I think ultimately they'll come out to be Lucifer. Now, I did say last stream it could be that since Astaroth has a light form, Astarte, corresponding to the morning star and the evening star, that when they come together, they form both Jesus and Lucifer, who is regarded as the morning and evening star. So, this could be the ultimate evolution of a Supreme Devil, and them coming into their own reign, which would be kind of cool because, as far as we knew, and as far as other devils knew, there was no other ascension process. You were born with the magic that you have, and that's why I've always brought up those like Bleach Espada arc, where there's steps to their ascension, where they start out as a hollow, then become a Menos Grande. Then from there, after consuming so many other Menos Grandes and hollows, they become a Judka, and they have to keep eating without getting so much as one bite taken out of them. And then they become a Rankar, and then they're promoted to a Spada. So there's a process to getting stronger, but before that, they would stay that level if they never go through that process. So it could be more of the same with Black Clover. Um, I feel the word purified is subjective to Lucius. Yeah, it could be. He looks. What if Lucius makes Dryad a paladin and her tree becomes? So I don't know if that could happen, but at the same time, now that you bring it up, we do have Megicula who cursed Undine as an experiment to see if it would affect her. And that really didn't do anything. But it could come back to serve the purpose that maybe Lucius can affect the spirit in that way, in making them a separate paladin altogether. Could be interesting. Um, I feel Salamander won't be purified since it's a being of elemental mana, which is not negative or positive, neutral. Yeah, true. I'm just curious as to what it would look like. I feel like there'd still be some changes, but then again, the the salamander chooses upon from at least what we got, like the one deserving of the power. So it alludes to like righteousness being a part of it, and not so much the power of the person, or else it would have gone to marry Leona, obviously. So there's a moment in the elf arc, I believe, where it looked like the salamander was about to choose Leo, but instead ends up choosing Fuegolian. That might have been just shy of the Spade arc. Anyway, oh no, that was when Roddy's was around, I believe. So no, I'm getting my chapters mixed up. But anyway, that was kind of the premise. So I'm thinking that if the nature of his soul changes, he might not be able to retain the salamander. Because realistically, Sister Lily should not have retained her grimoire, but it seems as though he's not changing the soul entirely. So she was able to keep it, which is still kind of confusing to me. But with Salamander, I think he would end up ditching her because he ditched Fauna, even after she was relieved of the Mage Stone and all that, the third eye, and then found Fuegolian after, even though Fauna existed in two separate places, and could have chose just one of them, but decided to choose another person entirely. So this could be the moment we see Leo actually gain the spirit and do something for once, which I don't know if I would like personally, but yeah, it is what it is. How many paladins will we show? So it's got to be 12 by. That's just the lore behind it, but could be less due to intervention, but who knows? Okay, Jack and John. I was saying 7. Jack thinks I'm overestimating who is left. Oh, you're going back to our conversation. Okay, let's look at our conversation, John. Hopefully I can verbalize it a bit better than I wrote. So, John and I were talking last night. And that's what he's saying in the chat, right? So, the premise of our talk had to do with like the 12 paladins and the paladin problem that I pointed out in yesterday's stream is that the number 12 doesn't match up with number 1 with a full underworld of Supreme Devils. There's only 10, but up to 11, like we just read. If we include Moloch, which is not included in the actual tree that Noct gives us, at least, and has not been mentioned since, or at all in this series. Let me try to find the. John, do you remember what tweet that was under? That's can be taxing up. Should be before this. But yeah, there's not even 12 in a full underworld. Now we're missing go. Okay, wait. No, is this it? Maybe. This. No, is this it? No. Yes. Okay, yeah. I think our conversation kind of changed from beginning to end. No, that's not it. Is it? I hate that Twitter does like branch comments. Okay. Okay, yeah, this is the conversation. Okay. So how did this start then? You said, so John said I would say either Diamond Kingdom or Witch's Forest. Like what? Okay, so this is under my headcanon that I think Lily, not really Lily, but Beelzebub being incarnated into Lily's body, used that spatial magic to send him to the underworld so that he could talk to Asta and use Asta as an ally. So John believes that he was teleported to either the Diamond Kingdom or Witch's Forest. Um, okay, so this is where I think we we lost each other here. So you're asking what other locations would Sister Lily now? No. So number one, I don't think we can hold Sister Lily to the same standard as someone like Finral, who's literally said he can only teleport people and himself to places that he has seen before he can actually do it, which is not the case anymore for him. And he showed that at the end of the Elf arc, I guess, but going into the Spade arc before the invasions, while fighting Gaja, he was able to teleport very far away without ever having known the Heart Kingdom at all, and obviously did it with Longreese to save him. So I think it's unfair to hold Sister Lily to that standard, because she is holding the very source of spatial magic, who probably doesn't need to see anything. And to be really literal as well, going back to this painting, this whole schematic of the sky and the stars is Beelzebub anyway. So he's literally the ruler of space, like the actual space that we live in. And so he would know any location, physical and below. And the first seal has been lifted, so the limitations to his power shouldn't really be there. He just can't escape the underworld. That's how I take it. But again, I don't think it's fair to hold her that standard. So, and she wouldn't even know the Diamond Kingdom in that sense, or the Witch's Forest, because she hasn't been there either. So it kind of doesn't make sense that you hold her to that standard, but she's also never been here. And then you say, we're assuming that this magic works with preset locations. This is the first time she's using it. Right. But again, it wouldn't be fair if you list those two and then say that, because she's never been there. Not canonically, at least. So, okay, yeah. And this is the thing that I said yesterday as well. The thing is if Lucius has seen the future, he can see those places, and that Asta isn't dead or just hiding in the world of the living. He would need to be elsewhere or else when. And I'm thinking spatial magic at its peak can be used to travel in time and not just space. Because, as you know, you have things like space-time. So time and space are very connected. So then you asked, would traveling in time also be appropriate in time cognition? Then again, we are assuming Lucius is a cuter level of omnipotence. You answered your own question there. You said you still think it's Witch's Forest since the Witch Queen can surround her domain in a kind of monofield. Now, that was a very fair point, which I do acknowledge. But I think there's sufficient evidence that the Witch Queen and Lucius are working in tandem. There are scenes in the background that, like, look, we can just look it up. Like, you can just type in Witch Queen. And, Black Clove, this one. Look. So consider, she's the only blood mage in the series, aside from Vonica. And we have this case where Xenon seems to look just like his older brother, Lucius. So, given that that Xenon could be a human incarnate of another human, Lucius, it could be that Vonica is an incarnate of another human, which is the Witch Queen, who is the other only blood mage here. So then we have these like deer heads in the background, which, I mean, I don't feel like I have to point it out, but we obviously see Lucius with this Cernunnos-like look with his antlers, and she has this weird way of telling Vanessa that when Vanessa, I believe she's bringing up Yami, and she's like, you like this normal human guy? That's weird. So she doesn't even like human men. Lucius is not a human guy. Like, he's a true human guy, who's obviously transcended that state. So and I believe we talk about that in our conversation as well. This could fit her standards of perfection, and this could be the only guy that she really actually approves of in the world. So we continue. John says, "I kind of doubt that, based on the fact that he wants to purify all humans. That would include her children, like demons, magic mixing with her realm. Doesn't make sense to me." Okay, so when you said this, John, I took this as like, okay, so like demon magic mixing within her realm. It's not really a realm. It's just like her own kingdom. She's able to hide it though, much like the Heart Queen hides her kingdom, which is not unfindable, because obviously other people have found it. Even the Diamond Kingdom found it. Vonica walks into the Heart Kingdom. Lucius can probably do the same. And it's not like, yeah, I would hardly call it a realm. And I say here, there's nothing different about witches. They're regular people. The only thing different is that they're raised separate from men, and they have their own applications of magic and just the way they're raised in general. But other than that, they're still human. So it's not like demon magic is mixing with like another being. It would just be the same. Now, the point also, John, is that he's not going to be making everyone into a paladin, which I feel like you're alluding to. But he will have to destroy all humans, for sure. But I don't think the Witch Queen is, against recreating a world that is more perfect and more to her standards than the world that she's living in now, that she doesn't even want to be a part of and is completely separate from. So then it continues. Exactly so, would they be threatened by Lucius' philosophy? I feel Fauna or Mars will become a paladin, or how would they transform? So that second part is kind of off topic, but I don't think they would necessarily be. Yes, absolutely threatened. Everyone is threatened by this philosophy. However, the Witch Queen wanting perfection is a flaw in and of itself that she does not recognize. So it's a matter of like, it's kind of the thing. Does perfection actually exist? And the thing is that when it does exist, it seems to become corrupted very easily. So it's kind of a catch-22. That so yes and no. And then here I just kind of bring it in with like the Hungry Joker. So the Witch Queen more aligns with what Lucius is doing, because if we remember in the Witch Forest arc, she unlocks the potential of Asta, right? And this is exactly what Lucius is doing. These are true humans. He is unlocking their highest potential. And that's what happens with Chitose in the Hungry Joker with Haiji. And with her blood Eureka, she was able to unlock the truest potential that he can get to be able to embody the Eureka itself without much of the drawbacks. Then you continue to say, I feel her and Lucius ideals about perfection will clash. She only wants to unlock people who will serve her interest. Lucius makes all of the Sisters of Fate paladins, then she will get involved. Like, he can only have 6 paladins at once. So this, like, lore-wise, is just inaccurate, because there's always 12 paladins. And we kind of talked about the Sisters of Fate part. I just don't think they recognize the Sisters of Fate in this universe right now. Not to say that they don't exist, because they obviously do. But I find it very hard to believe that their ideas of perfection will clash, because the Witch Queen doesn't seem to have an active plan to bring about this perfection she's been rambling on about since we've known her. So when she starts noticing that the wheels of fate is changing in front of her eyes as she's looking into the crystal ball, that's when she kind of takes a back seat and we never see her again. This alludes to the fact that Lucius is probably since been working, at least during that time as well, that she was able to see the effects of him and his rise into power actually starting to take effect in real time. So I do disagree with that at a fundamental level. Uh, and yeah, we kind of just end it there. Um, but yeah, you do say that like Dante himself said that Vanessa and Gray should become his women, and you don't think that that's by chance. And with Lucius eating Lucifero's heart, he knows this. Okay, so like that, how I say there is that Dante is just completely amused with the fact that arcane stage mages even exist, and the fact is like he had just some weird perversion about women already, but then the fact that they were arcane stage women made him more interested. So it wasn't that he recognized them as the sisters of fate, because he does point out to Yami that he's somehow collected uh, arcane stage mages, and he was amused by it. So, and again, he just doesn't recognize them as sisters of fate. It's just that they're arcane stage mages. So that was kind of the premise of the conversation. Um, you know, I disagree, but I don't think you like. There's still room for you to be right. Like I don't think you're wrong. Yes, but just certain points like six paladins doesn't match up with the lore. Um, it's just stuff like that. Let me get back to these chats. And yeah, Helix does bring up a good point. Salamander size did change. He's still not as big as he was with Fauna. So there is that. Oh, but to kind of, I think we kind of skipped over this. This wasn't even the conversation, was it? Oh no, it was a branch. Okay, so look, the point of like the 12 paladins thing is that so in perspective, let's pull up um uh the underworld. Okay, so look, this is what we had. Right now, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, with a possible 11th at the very end. So at most, there's 11 in the Spade arc before any of this starts. Now, this is still shy of 12 paladins. Now, we lost 2 due to Asta and Noct. So now there are 8, possibly 9. And then we have a Dremelech who's MIA. Okay, so we can't count him as being in the underworld right now. So right now we're at 7, maybe 8. And then we know that he ate Lucifero's heart. So now we're down to 6, maybe 7. And then we know that he's contracted to Astaroth and probably completely overtook him. So while Astaroth might not be dead, he can't be reached as in like, you know, as some of these other guys that we've just not seen yet. So then Astaroth, I'm pointing here because that's where Astaroth normally is, but in this layout, that's probably him right there. So Astaroth can't be counted. So now we're down to 5, maybe 6. Then we have Lucificus, what we talked about last night, where he was binded inside of a relic. Now, we know that the devils don't exist in hell when they're binded to a relic, because Noct's devils note that their Gimadellos like don't die, because if you die, we go back, and they're not going to take it easy on us. So Lucificus wasn't there at the time, but it could be that the magic and the body probably separated when the relic was destroyed. So we can dumb that down to maybe 4 or 5 devils left, which is so not even close to 12. That's what I'm saying, is that we have Belphegor, Magicula, 2/3 of Magicula, Asmodeus, and Bale if they decide to roll with Bale. But I believe that Magicula is going to serve a double role as Aishat Xenonym and filling in for Lucifuge Rofalcal, since we have gone over that Lucifuge on the tree has a more dynamic area because he's normally up here in the Satariel, but he does tend to go back and forth and rules both of these realms. So I believe that's the extent that Magicula has in the series. So again, that's why I'm saying that the Paladin number doesn't match, John. That was what I was trying to say, and hopefully it makes sense that I put it that way. But yeah, the devils are missing are Asmodeus, Belphegor, and really, who did I say? Proteus, Belphegor, and Bale. If they decide to go with Bale, so it's just that. So we got to see, and maybe he can just like spam, like Beelzebub's, uh, power and do multiple spatial mages. But it would kind of suck if that was the case. Um, He looks, if there's multiple Swallowtails, then what if they combine them with Candelos so there can be a base stronghold in the strong magic region? That could be cool. It would be cool to really incorporate some of those things that kind of had this one-off existence in the series. So that'd be really cool. And I forgot who I was talking to, but it was really smart. They connected the Candelo that Morris made to that of like Ludros and Lysita. So they believe that Lysita is probably being controlled by Morris and is the Diamond King in quotes that has always been like in shadows, which is interesting. Don't know if I necessarily agree, but I think it served for a good plot point. That's kind of cool. Shelly, I think Lysita will turn out to be Gray's true name. I don't know about that. But I think she got turned into a paladin with purified. But if she got turned into a paladin, she would keep that form. I just don't see that being the case, Shelly. But you are totally entitled to your own beliefs. Sunjin Wu, word soul magic and soul magic, right? We were talking about that last night. They've got to be somehow connected. And who knows? Like, if Lucius is really trying to be like God and playing God, one of the aspects of God that is kind of held separately is the Word of God, and I talked about that a long time ago. Like, I'm talking a long time. See if I can find it. Because I had made several threads on Zagrid, because for a while I was obsessed with trying to place Zagrid and exactly his role. I still kind of am, but I'm kind of more content letting the story play out. Let me order it from latest so I know, like, excuse me, what exactly I was saying. But it's kind of going to the point of that creation from a devil is pretty much impossible in lore, because they were stripped of those rights, because they create without any balance. And we see with Zagrid, if you have that ability, it can be abused easily, very easily. Oh wow, I did not know I mentioned Zagrid like still up until this date. Okay. Oh, here we go. Is that February? Okay, wait. Demon King. Wait. Oh yeah. So that's another thing too. Here is that while we have Lucifero, who's supposed to be the king and should know all, he's looking at Zora's grimoire and is like, that blasted thing. He hates the grimoire. And then you go back to Zagrid, and he's happy to have a grimoire. That was his full purpose. So there's always been this clash against Lucifero, and I think they've been trying to overthrow him for quite a while. I should be getting close to the actual thread I'm trying to reference. I worded it exactly how I wanted to word it, so. Is it? Hopefully. Yeah. There was a thought that I believe that Zagrid could be more like Xenon. Doesn't necessarily have to be human, but was more of a Xenon case where he became a god himself. Okay, we should be getting close. I'm sorry, guys. Oh, I know what word I can put in that could get us to it, but I feel like we're pretty close. So I'll just keep going. This one? No. Not this one either. Yeah, definitely not. What the hell? Okay, yeah, no, not even close. So this had to be in 2020. Yeah. Oh, what? I'm so confused. Um, shoot. Let me kind of think on it while I read your comments real quick. Um, okay. Oh, there's not many. Oh, yeah, there are. Okay. Um, makes sense that Asa was born from the paladin in the present and got sent into the past. I remember the Witch Queen had mentioned that Asa has a mutation. I don't think she mentioned a mutation as in like you're two separate beings. Like it's just like a general mutation. Like people go through this every day. Not every day, but like anytime someone's born, like there's a chance that during the development process within the womb that you develop a mutation that is not true to your ancestors' genes or even your parents or grandparents. Um, yeah. Let's see. Yeah, hopefully I did explain it better, John. I sometimes I have issues with like explaining things, so it takes several tries before I can actually get it right. Um, Helix didn't Frinwell in that fight use Mimosa's Flower Garden guidepost to see? I don't think he did. Maybe that is true, but he definitely didn't use anything like that in the Spade arc. So if he did in that, then I'll concede. But at least now he doesn't need that. And plus, there's also the anime where apparently he's been all up in guts, in Lux's guts. So like, teleporting into Lux's stomach is kind of odd. But yeah. Um, Uh, yeah, dude. No, logic for me is still shaky. It takes so much trial and error to get to any points that I try to make. Um, Shelly, you heard Asta will get teleported to the Spade Kingdom? Maybe Yuno saw him falling from the sky? On wait, what? Okay, so this is kind of what we were talking about, Shelly. What I was talking about with John is that like if he got teleported anywhere inside of the realm of the living, Lucius would know because he'd be able to see with his foresight. But he confirms that it's done. Asta's gone, meaning that he should be in a separate dimension at the very least. So I don't think he's in the Spade Kingdom, and they're nowhere close to the Spade Kingdom either. They're at the Clover border, and at the Clover border there's a high magic region, and then it's the Spade Kingdom, and even the capital in the Spade Kingdom is not at the edge. So I don't see that happening either. Roddy's Soul Court Magic, Zagrid Word Soul Magic, Lucy's Soul Magic. Right. I believe we talked about Roddy's, or I think it was an offline video that I talked about Roddy's, and how it could be related to Lucius and all that. Because he's the only other one that had one page, but the only difference is that Roddy's actually has an origin to his one-page grimoire, where Lucius didn't. EJ, sup, Jack? I had a theory that Lucius awakened Asta's angelic powers by showing him that devils can have ascension. Maybe. I would say personally, I don't think I'd like it if Lucius was the one to make Asta into an angel, because I think he's creating false angels, and I think Tabat is making the paladin thing on purpose and going out of his way to not depict them as angels, because it's easy to call those guys angels, right? But Tabat is making sure that he's not using that word and that verbiage. So I would say maybe yes and no. Maybe he's showing Asta that there's another level of being, but I don't think he would show him like how to be an angel. Maybe I'm interpreting what you said wrong, but I think that some of that is possible. Okay, Helix, you think that Asta will take on a look similar to the mask Julius gave William? And the art of the mask was designed for a vision Julius had of the future. Asta will sacrifice. I don't know about that. That would be such an ugly design. I've always hated that mask, but I get the significance of it. But yeah, I get that it has the red and the blue, and it has to do with devils and uh, theorized angels. So yeah, I guess I see what you're saying. I hope it doesn't actually look like the mask itself. Is what I'm saying. It's like that's an ugly ass mask to me. Um, his eye, the gateway of the soul, and take on the Odin look with. Oh, there's more to that. I should have kept reading. Asa will sacrifice his eye, the gateway of the soul, and take on Odin, and more like Odin look with Nero as his crow. That would be interesting. Um, I think that Lucius will end up doing that sort of stuff because of the connections that we've made with like Sir Nanos, and Sir Nanos being related directly to Odin. Uh, so it's that's kind of my thought on it. But it could go either way because a lot of this stuff. Uh, so it's kind of like okay, with Broku, he made the theory that Asta would have star magic. Now, while that is wrong at the very base of it, the fact that star magic existed with Yuno made it so that he's not completely wrong. Like the fact that Asta and Yuno were just kind of mixed up there isn't like it's not terrible because they're almost synonymous. But then with Asta and Lucius, there is still that sort of connection that they both have. And he does acknowledge as Julius that they're somehow linked by fate. So I would say that either you are wrong or I'm wrong. Because I'm on the Lucius side where he might do something more akin to what Odin did to receive more powers. Because I think he'll go for runes next. And if you can get the literal words of the world tree, you control everything, including fate. So those are words that cannot be broken. And I think that's what he'd be going for. But you could be right too. You'd be right. That'd be interesting because Guts also loses an eye. Asta lost an arm. So it does fall in line, Helix. I think you're onto something. But I just have my money on Lucius. That's all. You'd be right. But he'd also have to hang himself for like 7 days. 9 days. Did I not mention Zagrid's name once in that thread? What the hell is going on? Oh, I'm not. Oh, God. I thought I was in latest, so I went straight to the bottom. God damn. Alright. Start from the top. Make it drop for that Zagrid thread. Possibly Asta has or is the eye of the Midnight Sun. So the Midnight Sun would correspond to Tyrion, which is the Antichrist, which I believe Lucius is. No. Where is it? Angels don't have. Oh, I disagree, John. Angels do have horns. In the most original scriptures, angels and even prophets have horns. To me, the wings look more like scales versus feathers. They do look kind of odd, but they do like angel wings. Ugh. EJ, it's kind of like fighting, learning new techniques and transformations. So, if Asta can meet a real angelic being, then he can start his evolution. Right. Yep. I believe we went into that maybe like 3 weeks ago. I agree with that, EJ. First to get to level metamorphosis, right? Let's see. Helix, yeah, I'm leading the Lucius way now that you mentioned. Yeah, I mean, dude, it's just totally possible for Asta though, too. So I don't think you're wrong. I think there's some validity to that. John, really, this I gotta see since this is the first time I've heard of angels having horns. You can look inside of the Talmud, I believe, has it. I'm not sure what Bible has it. I'm not super up on like the versions of each Bible because I think they're all kind of bullshit. The Christian ones, the recent ones are bullshit. So I wouldn't know where to point you, but look up. I think it'll answer your question if you can look up Moses and what he actually looked like according to original scriptures, because Moses was born with horns. Uh, that. Oh God. This is what happens when you post too much. Why am I just getting replies though? I want my own like thread. I don't know. Anyway, the point is that, that Zagrid could be the mouthpiece of God, but fallen. Um, and the link is Megicula, because I've linked Megicula to Aishet Zenonim, who is also the Shekinah, who is known as the Bride of God before she becomes corrupted by the forces of hell. Oh wow, it's not even on here. What? Maybe I just didn't use his name. Oh, we didn't know his name. That's why. Word devil. Okay, it has to be up here. Because yeah, I'm realizing we didn't actually know his name for a while. Um, but yeah, the word of God in scriptures is usually held to its own standard. And like almost not its own being necessarily, but it's got its own power. Oh, well shit, maybe. Um um what was I saying in this? I don't know if you guys remember. I've definitely said on stream before that anytime anyone posts these like these showcase pictures, uh, it's immediate BS light that goes on in my head. It's just like easy likes, and there's no being right about these things. These are so convoluted, and they're forcing you to like try and think outside the box, and it's just a crock of crap to me. Like I don't know. There's one someone pointed out though. Um, that was kind of cool. It should be in here. Uh, there's like this broken wall, and it's dark, and then in the next picture, it has Libe standing in front of it, and then it has Libe with magic circles around him, uh, and then the hole is gone or something in the next one, but the magic circles are still there. So I guess it kind of like it could mean that he gets purified. I think that's a cool find, but overall, I think those pictures are just complete. You're just really speculating and shooting in the dark with these. Like, it's just weird. Um, Curious to see who's on this wall though. That's all scratched up. So Lucius is gone, or Julius is gone. Golian knows out. Who's in the picture that's not scratched up? I'm assuming Yami, William. Oh wait. Okay, so Yami and William are not in that picture, so they're scratched out. But everyone else is still there, right? One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight. And there are four, six. So yeah, just Yami and William. So maybe all of these guys become paladins except for Yami. See, look, I'm falling into the trap. It's all speculations. It's BS. BS. We don't know. Um. Anyway, I'm kind of done looking for that Zagrid thread. I don't know where it is. I'll repost it if I find it. EJ, or maybe if Asta and Libe get to fuse souls at 100%, I'm assuming you're saying, to get to an angel-like state, but I don't know how Asta will be able to do this without help unless it was his destiny unlock his power. So that goes back to this Metatron video that I made about Asta. I think that he will become the one angel that rules them all. And of course, the short lore behind Metatron is that Metatron did not start out as an angel. He was literally picked by God, and he was just some regular Joe Schmo. In some versions, he's actually Enoch, a prophet. It really doesn't matter. But he plucked a full-bred human out of existence in front of all these people, and the accounts of his metamorphosis, as they put it in the Book of Enoch, coincidentally, someone just said the word, or you just said the word, EJ. They label it as a metamorphosis, and that like his eyebrows become like flames, his eyeballs are flames. You know, like the very muscle fibers start to change as well. So he's changing into this ultimate angel, and yeah, that was the only human that had ever happened with. Now, Metatron is partnered with Sandalphone, another angel that rules over Earth. Essentially, he's like the spirit of the Earth, as they label him, and he collects all the prayers from Earth and sends them up to Metatron, who is also labeled as God, who is not God. They do call him a lesser Yahweh, but they also do just call him Yahweh as well. And so this partnership that he has with Liebe seems to kind of reflect that. And Sandalphon also does have a fallen state. Now, it's not because God denied him. There's certain dynamics that happen. So it starts with the Shekinah. The Shekinah is known as God's wife, which is also conflated to Metatron's wife. So there could be some previous life history between, possibly Asta or maybe Liebe with Megicula, and it would kind of make sense because Megicula wasn't able to exist in the same space as Asta and Liebe together in base form while she was fighting Noel and Nozel, because she started to disintegrate. Now, that could go another way and say that Megicula took the spot of Astaroth once Astaroth left the underworld. But if Liebe and Asta are Astaroth, or at least one of them are, then that Supreme Devil probably can't exist with the original Supreme Devil, if that makes sense. But I think it's the former, personally. Let's see. I see it now. Michelangelo has him with horns. Okay, yeah. EJ, you know what would be crazy if they give Asta an angel spirit, his devil, so he could use Angel Union plus his Devil Union. That would be crazy. Just a funny theory. Yeah, it would be kind of crazy though. Helix, can't wait to see the follow-up video with Broku on the underwater temple in Zagreb. That was the basis of those screenshots I sent you being important, right? Yeah, if you haven't watched it, watch it. There were some pretty cool points that we both found. Metatron was in Shaman King. I've never read Shaman King. I don't know. Memory kind of off. The way you describe Metatron sounds like Hellfire from Mario Leona. Like him turning into, yeah. Let's actually get the actual description of Metatron. Metatron's metamorphosis. How do you spell metamorphosis? There we go. Brain fart. Whatever. Apostrophes, no apostrophes. Whatever. Okay. EDU? Solid. Okay. So I know that one of those things involves sinews. So it probably isn't in this. Not the actual wording. But let's see if it's at all in here. Throne of Glory, stand in front of the face of the Lord forever, whatever. The wise in the secrets of Master of Mysteries, okay. Revealer of secrets, okay. I mean, yeah, that even fits. Metatron is the knower of secrets. Asta has this weird thing, as Helix, you've been saying it lately as well. This weird way of showcasing what his innate power might be through the Demon Destroyer sword. But this being able to delve into the minds of other people, seeing their past, the things they regret, and then purifying them from there, is a lot like Metatron in this case. He's exposing the secrets of their their inner self. Um, so here they have Enoch as Metatron, like I was just saying. Um, okay, and Metatron brought them out from his house of treasuries and committed them to Moses. Great, not what I'm looking for. First Archangel Verivel. I've never heard of that one. Okay, all the deeds, whatever. Oh wait, he instructs Enoch in all the deeds of the Lord, the earth and the sea, and all the elements and the courses in the Hebrew language, every kind of language, of the new song, of the armed troops, and everything that is appropriate. The Prince of Presence, great. The Heavenly Scribe, awesome. The Witness of Judgment. The Witness of Judgment is a big one for Asta, since he witnesses the things that people judge themselves off of, like Patri. Going through it. He was initiated to the scribal activities by the Lord himself. And the Lord said to Verivel, bring out the books of the storehouses and give a pen to Enoch, and read him the books. Verivel gave me the pen, and okay, great. Yeah, I'm looking for the actual text. That wasn't on the same. Okay, here we go. This should be it. The manifestation. Okay. Oh, blah blah blah. Great erase is rather blah blah blah. Schaefer's remark. Cares about Schaefer. Heck a lot writings. Great. You either. Continues with two ends. Maybe. I only know that word because I had to look it up when I read it. I was like, I don't know what a sinew is. I don't know. Metatron. Sinew. Okay. Where's the actual script? Okay. From WordPress. What source are they using? How about this? Esoterica. Oh, okay. Okay, yeah. Esoterica is dope. So, by the way, guys, if you guys have not heard of it, this website, I did not know this was his website. Actually, I'm gonna favorite this. So, there's a guy on here who's super. He's actually a theologist. I believe that's how he classifies himself. But he's a scholar in these types of things, and he has great content, great videos. He does talk about like Enochian magic, Christian magic. He's just now talking about demonic magic, and things of that sort. He kind of stayed on the light side of things for a while, and I don't want to blow my own horn, but I did suggest in one comment when he was talking about Judaic magic that he, I was asking about his stance on like the dark tree and authors like Thomas Carlson and crossing the lore and all that stuff. And since then, he's been putting out things about the Clipod and things like that. Really interesting, very smart guy. And like I said, he's an actual scholar. He's got a degree in this. And he does lives as well, talking about several topics. He's really cool. He's to be honest, if you look at him, he looks kind of boring, but he's actually kind of funny, and he's able to teach the information in a very digestible way as well. So if you haven't, take a look at it. His channel is really cool. Now I thought, okay, here we go. So Lesser Yahweh, like I was saying, Metatron is called Lesser Yahweh, but they also do describe him as God. In the 5th to 6th century, in the Sefer Hekalat, which is the Book of Palaces or the Third Enoch, we go on a heavenly journey to the throne Merkava of God with Rabbi Ishmael to learn that the angel Metatron was once Enoch. Transformed into a being of fire, witness a host of angelic systems, a tour of paradise and Sheol, the underworld, a glimpse of the right hand of the divine, and even a glimpse of all cosmic history as embroidered on the veil, Pargad, covering the very face of God. So that's essentially what happens. There's a more like detailed description of exactly the metamorphosis that he underwent. Oh, here we go. But yeah, essentially he's turned into like a full flame, and this sounds intimidating actually. The way they describe him. Um, and then you've seen this on the Metatron video as well. Uh, if you, out of all the shapes you can make out of this, Metatron's cube embodies all of existence. So, like all of these symbols, you see the Hagal that goes straight up and down and then forms an X at that axis, is Julius' symbol on his forehead. You can see it best in this center circle. That's the Hagal. And then you can see the without the 6 point, Asta has the 5 points to this. So I'm thinking that it's still not quite complete, given that he still has a limitation on that power. So it could be a skeletal mark of what's to come, which could be Metatron's cube. Now, where's the actual thing, dude? In There we go. The Lord turned him into a burning, living flame. His sinews like the hottest of fires, his eyes like torches, and his flesh the very essence of heat. So this is what he turned into. I think that is what is going to happen to Asta in the very end. He'll realize, or God will choose him specifically, and it would bring this whole series full circle beautifully, where God or gods did not choose Asta at all. They actually did the opposite, and they forsake him. Whereas in the end, they choose Asta personally to get rid of Lucius. Asta's supposed to use devil power till the end. I don't think that's necessarily the case, but I mean he's not supposed to do anything, but I think people do prefer that he keeps using devil power. Byron, what kind of power up would you give Noelle if she doesn't keep Undine? Don't think she has Undine anymore, but I think if we go into like this advent of Ragnarok, we could find more of a purpose for her, being that she's connected with Valkyries as well as her mom. And who knows, her father may even be someone like Poseidon, you know, that existed as a god of old. But who knows? I'm not quite sure though. But she still has ultimate magic that she hasn't showcased fully yet, so we just gotta wait and see. I don't know. Noelle's kind of obscure right now. Helix for Noelle is her lance in Valkyrie form supposed to be her wand. Is that a question or are you telling me? But she covered it with water. She hasn't used the wand for a long time. I forgot when exactly she ditched it. But she doesn't have Bruce anymore. Which is also, if anything, a really weird happenstance in this story that was never explained. Because Bruce had a mind of his own, her wand, and actually spoke to her. So it would have been nice to know what that was all about. But yeah, she doesn't have the wand anymore. Felix, you think Asta, Jesus, and Julius is God? I think Julius will take up Patri's grimoire. Possibly Zagreus return plot twist. Julius will have. So you think he would take a 5-leaf grimoire? I don't know how I'd feel about that. Because then, are you suggesting that he is an incarnation of Astaroth? Because then maybe it would make sense that way, but I don't know if he could just take a 5-leaf like that as his own. I think the 5-leaf belongs to the person. Oh, no, can't even say that. Because Zagreus was the one who corrupted Licht, and he couldn't even take Asta's grimoire. So it's empty as far as we know. So maybe, maybe, yeah, I don't know. Could be. He would also just need a new vessel, which we don't have yet. So what will we do about the? Well, they made Licht a vessel, so I don't see why they couldn't make Julius a vessel. So, but what could Julius do for them at this point? You know what I mean? Because even if we take it as he would have to be a full-on reincarnation of Astaroth. Um, no, he could be an incarnation because they're still the symbol. So it would just be Lucius has time magic and soul magic, and then if Julius gets another body, he would just get time magic again. I don't know about that. Because time magic against time and gravity loses 10 times out of 10. I don't know. I don't know. Angelic Torch Asta coming? Maybe. We'll see. We talking to God in a manga again? But I don't think there was really anything else I wanted to talk about. Was there anything else you guys wanted to talk about before I head out here? I'm trying to turn an 8-week class into 2 weeks, maybe 3. I got a lot of work to do. But down to stick around if you guys have any other questions or any points of conversation you want to talk about. Johnny, tag me. Oh, that was the previous conversation. Felix, it's just odd how Julius is coincidentally 15 now, and there's a word soul magic or more just sitting to be biased. True, and I think like for a follow back. What? I got a like for a follow back, Kai? Or Key, excuse me? Sorry, I say Kai. Wow. That is insulting. If anyone on here, oh, you know what? We haven't done this in a while, you guys. So we'll do this. So back in the day, her lives, we would terrorize someone's account, okay? And I feel personally disrespected that I followed Key after she was suspended and there was no follow back, but I got a like for a follow back? Are you kidding me? No. That's not how this works, sweetheart. Look. Alright, look. Alright, chat. Tap in, because now we gotta wreak havoc. I'm personally offended, and Key's gotta know. He's gotta know this is not okay. Alright? Okay. So, me and the BC community would like to know why we have to like this. Or, sorry, I'm not even commenting on the tweet, but hey. Have to like your tweet in order for you to follow back. If you didn't know, I ain't no follow back girl. Okay? I deserve equal, if not better, treatment than everyone else. So, maybe am I showing my age by saying I ain't no follow back girl? Okay. Is that an okay letter to write? I feel like okay, hey, wait, hold on. To whom it may concern. There we go. There we go. I feel like that says everything I needed it to say. Uh, so if you guys see Key and I battling it out, refer her to the later end of this live, and let her know that she's been outed, that she's been called out. I'm waging war, and I don't see Key as part of my plan later down the road, as you might say. Okay? You are the flaw, not me. No. I can't run out of character. Can't do this. I need three more. Okay. Uh, the BC community would like to know why we have to like your tweet in order for you to follow back. Didn't know. I ain't no follow back girl. Okay, we're gonna take out MK. We don't need it. Okay, great. And then gotta add the emojis. You gotta have all the elements, you know, when you're writing these letters of intent, you really, like, you can't just do words sometimes. You gotta do the emojis with the GIF. You gotta drive that point home, alright? So when you're doing your college letters and your letters of intent for jobs, remember, use emojis and unnecessary capitalized letters, okay? Just kidding. Kids, don't do that. Be professional. When it comes to Key, you know what? I'm in my good mind right now, Key, to unfollow. I really should. I don't take this. Look. Hold on. Who are you following right now? And I'm gonna look at. Wait, what? So she's gonna follow people that have been actively against Black Clover? Yo, these are exactly those accounts. Hold up. Key's not an ally. Yo, Key's the op. What are we doing standing this girl? No. And the fact that I don't even see Buzz on here yet is ridiculous. Okay, followers that I know. Oblivious. Obviously. Everyone follows Oblivious. Nick, whatever. Yeah, of course. King, of course. Knight, Waliet, yeah, duh. Okay. Yeah, these are the real kings and queens of the community right here. Like, I'm not mad at this. Still no Buzz. So she hasn't followed Buzz back. Is that the thing? Because I gotta stick up for my boy. If I don't see Buzz on this list, I got to unfollow. If I don't see Broku, Buzz, I don't know if she was following WK, but if I don't see these guys on here, I gotta unfollow. I gotta press that unfollow button, Key. I'm not liking this treatment. Dylan, you're in here? Oh, okay, Buzzard's in here. Okay. Okay, so now I feel like it's more of a personal attack. At least the homies are involved, but at least it's not a personal attack. So, you know what? Wow. I'm in shock. I'm in awe of what I just witnessed. I don't think I can easily recover from this. That was disrespect. That was as disrespectful as it gets. What are you guys saying in here? Let's see. Her suspension is, you blame it on Buzz? Felix, thank you for your time, sir. Thank you for all of your time. You guys. Hashtag ain't no follow back. Bro, spam her Twitter right now. Hashtag ain't no follow back, girl. Where is that actually? I need to go back to her comment. I woke up this Sunday feeling great. There's a new chapter, and you know, the translations were beautiful. The art was beautiful. Looked forward to getting. I can't even look her up. Look, see, bruh, no way. hold on. Did I just get blocked in real time? Was that was? Oh, her at is in. Okay. I was about to, about to raise some hell. Okay, so we gotta corral and come together as a community here. There's a whopping 12 of us. I got all my paladins in the chat right now. Okay, we go back. We gotta get the hashtag ain't no follow back, girl. In there, all right. That's it. Ain't no follow back, girl. And leave the reply. That's it. That's all you gotta do. That's all you gotta do. Okay, it is a good song, John. Byron, I've been noticing a lot of angels all have the same name, L at the end of their name. Names also just thought that Lucius might rename the paladins. So the name L is referring to God. We kind of talked about that last night. I'm not sure if you were here for that, but like using the tree that Dante uses is not the tree of Qliphotep. It is actually the tree that angels exist in. And you'll see like Elohim, El, that's where I pooped out on the other one. But yeah, it's from Robert Flood. It's his tree. It has to do with angels and not hell at all. Okay. John, she's the key part of my. No. See, John, you should lose your moderator status for that one. She's not. She's the flaw. I do appreciate the pun, though. I appreciate the pun. Thank you, Dylan. Dylan tapped in. Where's the rest of you? I had 12 paladins in this chat, and I see one that showed up. Buzz and her are at war. Buzz tries her bad. She doesn't even follow Brood. Brood was in there, actually. I did see that. So thankfully she hasn't, she hasn't abandoned the whole squad. But look, I feel like I should be in with the squad, and I'm just not. So this isn't gonna happen. All right, we got to set expectations. All right, we don't simp around here. We set our standards. And we treat others like equals. All right? That's what we do. That is the Jack Oates. That's the Jack Oates golden rule right there. I don't follow back. What are we talking about? Okay. Just say key doesn't have Zoro chord. Game is a trigger. I don't even know what that means. You know what, Dylan? I got you, bro. So, look. I think that's all we really have to talk about for now. This pending war against Key. I hope we all start to weigh in more. Thank you, Helix. Another king, another paladin. So, the Lucius turning people into paladin thing, great. Awesome. Wants to recreate the world? Awesome. Gonna lay waste to the world? Great. Perfect. The war that matters is this one. The war between Jack and Key. Alright? Ooh, and it's beautiful. You know why? Because I got paladins right here in the chat right now. Okay? And then she's only got Key. Asta's only got Key at this point too. Perfect. She is the flaw. We don't need her. I'm not mad. I'm not offended. I don't know who said I was offended, because I'm not. Just rude. Definitely not offended. Alright. I gotta go. Thank you guys for tuning in. Still weighing on the chat. We gotta make sure we make a statement to Key. Alright? Just because she's Key doesn't mean that we just follow. No. We have standards. We have standards, and we will not let up. We will not go silently into the night. I'm starting to show my age now, so I'm going to go. It's been Jack Oates' Goat. You either know or you don't.